My birthday party turned into my sister's big day. She walked arm in arm with my fiancé, sneering at me as she passed by. "Dear sister, everything you have will soon be mine." Not long after, she was kicked out and left with nothing. At my birthday bash, my parents brought home an 18-year-old girl. They announced to family and friends that she was their long-lost youngest daughter, officially back in the family. She was pretty sure, but there wasn't a hint of resemblance to me on her face. She clung to my parents' arms and stopped in front of me. "Thanks to my sister for taking care of mom and dad all these years. Now that I'm back, she can rest easy." Her ambition and provocation were so blatant they were almost funny. My dad patted her hand. "Lily is so thoughtful. It's been hard on you. Your room isn't ready yet, so you'll just sleep in your sister's room for now." Lily feigned concern. "How can that be? Where will my sister sleep?" "They'll figure it out. She has a villa outside. Besides, she's grown up, she can't sleep on the street, can she?" Just like that, I was promptly shoved aside on my 25th birthday for a daughter who appeared out of nowhere. I glanced at my mom. She avoided my eyes but stayed silent. Her silence said it all. When it came to gifts, my dad clearly forgot. He pushed Lily toward me, saying, "What more do you want? Isn't your sister the best gift?" Up close, the diamond necklace on Lily's neck sparkled brightly. It was the same one my dad asked about last month for my birthday. Turns out he wasn't too busy to prepare, just busy making another daughter happy with my dream gift. Everyone played along, except for me. I was the outsider. The next morning, I came back to grab some documents. Upon entering, I heard a scream from upstairs. The next instant, my dad charged out of the master bedroom without shoes, heading straight for my room. When we got there, Lily sat messily on the floor, hair disheveled. The humidifier beside her made odd noises, black smoke puffing up. "Dad, I'm so scared." She wept and jumped into my dad's arms. "It was fine yesterday but broke once I moved in? It's all my fault. I shouldn't have taken sister's room." My dad suddenly seemed to get it, shooting me a sharp look. "Candy, she's your sister." I was stunned. Before I knew it, blame had descended on me. The girl lowered her head so my dad couldn't see, and gave me a nasty grin, part mocking, part challenging. "Dad, I broke my sister's room. Maybe she should take it back and I'll stay in the old room?" My room was the next biggest after the master, each wall and curtain chosen with care. Lily's room was a converted guest room, half the size, with furniture picked unwillingly by my dad, who had no clue about a girl's taste. Lily clearly hated her room, but posed like she was being generous, making it look like I was the one benefiting. "But Lily, your room was decorated with so much love by Dad." The hesitation in his expression stung. "Because he designed it, I couldn't have it, right? If there's something nice, I'm sure my sister will let me have it." Lily threw me a defiant look. My dad, full of sympathy, agreed. "You're so understanding. We'll do as you suggest." They made plans without me, as if I wasn't the room's owner. I wanted to laugh. When did I agree to move? Dad's face darkened. "Candy, is this how a sister acts? You're not even half as considerate as your sister." I chuckled. "Dad, you've got it wrong. My room's full of company documents and contract backups. If things go missing, it might cost the business." Talking about company issues did the trick. My dad hesitated. After a pause, he told Lily, "Your sister makes a good point. Get your things and move to the room Dad readied for you." "All right." Lily's face soured, but she had to comply. Shortly after, my assistant showed up with a morning report. The competitor bid just $10,000 over and won the land project. Dad was agitated and raised his voice. "A multi-million project won by just $10,000 more? A mole must be leaking info." The assistant glanced uncomfortably at Lily. At the party yesterday, the competitor cozied up to the second miss and got some details. Lily's face changed, tears quickly filling her eyes. "Dad, I didn't know. He said we're family friends, so we just chatted a bit." Despite the $1 million loss because of her, Dad remained lenient. "You're young and unsuspecting, easily tricked. It's understandable." However, he also turned to me. "Make time to teach Lily some protocols." "Dad!" Lily shouted, dissatisfied, but this time Dad stayed firm. This incident snapped him back. Lily raised away. Couldn't compare to his groomed heir me. "Dad, I want to work at the company too. Whatever sister can do, I can. 20-something years of my efforts, and she thought she could replace me in one day. Intelligence is a wonderful thing. Too bad she didn't have it. Before Dad could answer, I cut in sure. You'll start at the company from the ground up like I did. But this good sister misunderstood and thought I was targeting her on purpose. It's a shame though, because she's not even worth my time to target. I turned and headed downstairs with Lily's resentful eyes on my back, then stood outside the villa for a bit. Before long, Wendy came outside to dump the trash. As she passed by me, she slipped 3 hairs wrapped in a tissue into my hand. Thanks for the hard work, she said. I put them in my bag and finally left. There's no such thing as hatred without cause. The way Lily looked at me made me think there was more to the story. So, I sent those hairs to my private hospital to get a DNA test. In the afternoon, I went straight to the company for a board meeting. A few directors hinted that my dad acted too old-fashioned, hoping I'd take over the company soon. I just smiled and didn't say much. Before long, my secretary rushed in, looking troubled. She said, "The second miss has arrived with a group, driving over 10 luxury cars. It seems they're here for you." I heard the engines obliterate the underground garage. Even the employees on the lower floors heard it loud and clear, and speculated who this impactful figure could be. Not long after, Lily appeared from head to toe in designer clothes, with huge dazzling jewelry on her neck and wrists. She played the role of a flashy nouveau riche perfectly. She marched to the HR manager and arrogantly ordered, "Find me the most comfortable desk. Starting today, this place is my new office." The manager didn't know who Lily really was, but dared not offend her, so he politely complied. Someone in the crowd mumbled, "Who is she to act so high and mighty?" And right at that moment, everyone went silent, making the comment clear as day. Lily walked straight up to that person, yanked the badge off the girl's neck, threw it to the ground, and stomped on it with a grin. "If you don't want the job, just get lost." "Save my eyes from the dirt," she sneered. The poor girl turned pale and almost fainted. Just then, I arrived and caught the swaying girl. I patted her on the shoulder and told her to rest downstairs. The crowd finally came back to their senses, gathering around me for support. "Candy, you're here. Candy, you have to stand up for us. Candy." I gestured, and the noise stopped immediately. I walked up to Lily, who giggled suddenly and cozily linked arms with me. "Sis, I was just joking around. You wouldn't hold it against your own sister for a stranger, would you?" I simply unlinked my arm from hers and signaled for security to escort her crew out. Lily exclaimed, "What's this about?" "They're my friends. Company policy doesn't allow unauthorized people inside," I replied with a soft laugh. "That's Dad's rule. But he dotes on you. Maybe he'd let it slide if you asked." Suddenly tongue-tied, she backed down. "Never mind then," she muttered. I gently grasped her chin and smiled. "You've got a pretty face that's hard to resist," I mused as I released her, trailing a finger down her neck to snap her necklace. It left a red mark on her skin, and she gasped, "It hurts." "Oh really?" My surprised voice grew cold and sharp. "That's how you treated that girl earlier." "I thought it didn't hurt." Lily's face turned livid, but she had nothing to say. The HR manager conveniently appeared, pointing to the most undesirable desk next to the restroom, serenely offering, "Isn't it time for work? Perhaps you should start, miss?" "You." Lily was left trembling in rage, vented frustration with a kick to the chair, and stormed off in a huff. "Tonight's going to be anything but peaceful." Coming home, a glass flew past my ear and shattered on the floor, shrill and piercing. A man pointed at me, shouting, "What did your sister do to deserve such humiliation in front of all the employees? You're practically trying to ruin her at the company." I just walked over, poured a cup of tea, and said, "Dad, calm down. Have some water." He impatiently overturned it, the hot tea spilling over my hand, turning it red instantly. I paused, a tight smile on my lips, showing no reaction at all. "If you're not thirsty, let's get straight to the point." I placed the security footage from today on the table, along with pictures of the luxury cars and henchmen. The mere sight in the pictures showed how over the top the scene was. The man scrutinized them, furrowing his brow for once. "Lily, what's this?" Lily blinked and immediately began to sob. "I know I can't compare to sis in power, so I only wanted to hold my own at work." She knew just how to play on his tender spots. Predictably, my dad's anger turned to sympathy upon hearing that. Nonetheless, it's my duty to intervene. Dad, even though sis broke quite a few company rules today, rules you set, I should add, all you need to do is say the word. Anything for sis, right? If the rules stay, others will follow suit. Sis might have started a trend, as there were no consequences for her. With resignation, I added, I worry I'm not capable enough to manage the staff. Maybe it's best if you take charge again. Instantly his expression shifted. He pondered briefly and declared, I'll make sure Lily stays home from now on. Feel free to handle things your way. Dad, trust your judgment. I glanced at Lily, offering a slight smile. In the end, I told him I'd do my best as she glowered at me. That evening, instead of going to the family estate, I went to a nearby apartment instead. In the darkness, a figure crept close, wrapping around my waist, and pressed me into the small corner. I just looked up, and he had already captured my lips, planting a long, passionate kiss. I tried to push him away, but his hand clamped down, only bringing a more intense response. Sister, don't be naughty, he said. I'd had enough. I need him hard in the groin. A dull thud followed, and David collapsed, groaning, his handsome face twisted in pain. Yet he didn't forget to be cheeky. Sister, you can't treat me like this for your future. I sneered. Doesn't seem like it hurt enough. Need another kick? No need, sister. He scurried up from the floor, scratching his head and grinning like an idiot, as if he weren't the same guy attacking me like a wild dog moments ago. Who would have guessed that the proud heir of his family would act like a whipped puppy in front of me? He shoved his phone under my nose, trying to look all sweet and innocent. I glanced at it, full of flirty texts from my dear sister, all bold and suggestive. Sis, even though she's family, I really want to block her. Block her? Aren't our families supposed to unite? Why turn down a marriage handed to us on a silver platter? David's expression soured, and he bit my lip roughly, growling, It's only you that I want. The next morning, I found David sitting on the floor again, looking at me like a sad puppy. As soon as I woke up, he leaned in for a quick peck and said, Morning, sister. I chuckled, replying gently, Buzz off. His eyes dimmed, and he licked his lips. I knew trouble was coming. Sure enough, it was another hour before I got out of bed. Right then the DNA test results arrived too. It showed that Lily wasn't my mom's daughter. Not surprising, but shockingly, she wasn't even related to my dad. I dashed back to the family home, only to be stopped on the second floor by Lily. Blocking my path, she grinned boldly, Sis, I want David. You're too old for him anyway, 5 whole years older. He and I match better. She paused, then added, Oh, Dad thinks so too. Trying to use Dad against me? Ridiculous. Move aside, I said coldly. I don't have time for you. But she didn't back down, coming closer. Sis, why rush? Your parents are now mine too. And soon enough, your little lover will be mine. Aren't you mad? You should be furious. All I wanted was to confront Mom, but when my arm accidentally brushed hers, she let out a scream and dramatically fell down the stairs. Just then Dad came out of his room. His eyes went red, and he rushed at me, ready to slap me. I quickly stepped back, avoiding him. He stumbled and almost fell but caught himself, then started scolding me. How could I raise such an ungrateful daughter? That's your sister. But is she really? I smirked. Then why doesn't the DNA test say so? The room went silent. At the hospital, the doctor repeatedly emphasized that Lily was hurt and needed rest. But to me, she looked healthy, even more so than I did. When my parents arrived, she wailed, It's my fault. I shouldn't have asked sister to back off because I liked David. She wouldn't have been mad, and I wouldn't have fallen. Dad chimed in, David is just 20, just your age. Then he gave me a stern look, You're 25. Don't think about having what's not yours. As the head of the family, it's my call. I shrugged, feeling indifferent. If he can talk David into it, it saves me some trouble. Mom took me aside, telling me to be patient with Lily. She's younger, and her health isn't great. It was apparent to everyone that regardless of the DNA, Lily and Dad's bond was unusual. But I wasn't sure why Mom sided with Lily too. I confronted her, putting the test report in front of her. Mom, if you never had a second child, then where did Lily come from? She sighed, Well, you were always the smart one. I guess you'd find out eventually. Mom explained that my life was saved by Lily's bone marrow when I had leukemia 3 years ago. Recently, her parents died, and we couldn't just ignore the debt. So Mom and Dad adopted her as their own. I asked why they pretended she was a long-lost daughter. Your dad was worried. With such a standout daughter like you, Lily wouldn't be able to compete, especially as an adopted child. This way, she wouldn't be judged by society. He went all out for her. But is that the truth? I stood outside Lily's room, observing Dad who doted on her. That care was far beyond what a father gives an adopted child. More than he ever showed me. There was also the female doctor who hadn't spoken to me, but gave me a look that felt strangely hostile. I glanced at her name tag before leaving. Growing up, Mom raised me almost single-handedly. She always gave me the best she had. But my relationship with Dad was always lukewarm. We were never close, but at least it was peaceful back then. These days, the arrival of an adopted daughter has shaken things up, breaking the peace. It's hard to wrap my head around it. Something's definitely off. The first thing I did back at work was order a background check on my dad. Then I added, oh, and dig into a doctor named Wendy at First Hospital. Got it, Candy. A few days later, David's family dropped by to discuss marriage alliances. Lily was pretending to be frail, but the next minute, she was bouncing around, demanding to be discharged. She dressed up, strutting around on 10-centimeter heels like she owned the place, showing no signs of weakness from her injuries. She cozied up to David, sweetly saying, "David, you're here." David replied with a cool hum. But when he saw me on the sofa, his eyes lit up in a flash. He raced over to me, practically wagging his tail with excitement. "Sis, I haven't seen you in days. Did you miss me?" Before I could reply, he jumped in. "Whether you did or didn't, I've been missing you like crazy." His last line was drawn out, totally playing the child card. This guy is always so over the top. I didn't bother to reply. Meanwhile, Lily was glaring at me like her face had turned as dark as soot. "Radiant brother," she said, "Sis is busy with work. I can hang out with you instead." Lily has really redefined shamelessness in my book. I've never met a woman so eager to throw herself at someone. David shot her a glance with a chill tone. "I'm busy too, but..." His voice shifted, breaking into a grin as he looked at me. "Whenever sis calls, I'll drop everything." Right then, the color on Lily's face swung wildly between red and black, a real sight to see. After dinner, the four parents gathered on the sofa, finally getting down to business. My dad led with, "Don't worry, folks. Our Lily is smart and sensible. Her and David make a perfect match." Lily beamed, but not without sneaking a glare at me. Meanwhile, the other three froze momentarily in shock. David's dad cut to the chase, "Lily's sweet and all, but we've got our eye on Candy for this." "But Candy's older than David," the man continued, "frankly beyond age. She's a bit temperamental and headstrong. Not as gentle as Lily." "Enough." The young man suddenly interrupted, his gaze dark and serious, joking no more. "Uncle, I don't know why you'd talk down your own daughter, but to me Candy's one of a kind. I want no one but her." Lily fired back, "David, are you saying you'd pick an older woman over me?" David grew even colder. His glare could have cut through steel. "So you do realize that aside from being a bit younger, you're lacking, huh?" Lily was speechless, biting her lip, unable to retort. David's parents insisted the marriage could only be with me. Dad didn't take it well, finally finding an excuse to postpone the discussion. Nothing came of it. Later, Dad kept pushing, spinning tales of how good Lily was. He even tried throwing her and David together under any excuse. Lily's reputation had already crumbled among the elite thanks to her ego. When David's family did a bit of digging, all they found was scandal. Dad's efforts were pointless. Frustrated by a lack of progress, within days, he brought Mom and Lily to convince me to step aside. He bluntly told me, "Mom and I transferred 80% of our shares to Lily. That kind of dowry can't be refused. David's nearly your brother-in-law. Don't see him again." 80% of the shares? I was stunned, turning sharply to Mom. She seemed pained, but had always been too soft. She kept saying Lily saved my life, and giving her anything was fair. She urged me not to fight her on it. I took a deep breath, staying silent while a fire raged inside, fueled by anger. After they left, I called Mom back in. I slid a fresh stack of papers across the table for her to see. I needed her to see that Lily wasn't my savior. She was Dad's ex's daughter. Wendy was her name. Wendy, who lost her husband 3 years ago, came swarming as soon as she heard of Dad's success. Their old flame rekindled quickly. Dad set her up with a job, bought a downtown home, even paid her hefty support each month. 2 months back, my real savior had died suddenly. Wendy seized the moment, suggesting Lily could take her place, move in and claw her way over us to the top. They even aimed to take over, stealing everything I had. Dad, swayed by pillow talk, bent over backward to pave Lily's way. He tried getting her into the company, but she was hopeless. No talent for it. So he pivoted to securing her a good match. Hoping for an alliance with the illustrious David was far-fetched. But then his parents surprisingly brought up the idea first. They didn't even know yet about a second daughter, just wanting a family tie. David ended up unknowingly caught in a mess. Mom's eyes stayed locked on those papers, shaking with rage. She came from privilege and naivete. Marrying Dad with a massive dowry, she became a housewife. Over the years, she turned into a caged canary. Her eyes were blinded, her wings clipped. Even knowing the truth now, she had no power to fight back. Whatever Dad said, she believed it. "Leave it to me," I reassured her, gently patting her hand. Then without hesitation, I turned and left. Honestly, deep down, I didn't have much respect for my mom. Everyone can grow into a tree, but she chose to be a vine clinging to a large one. Dad coaxed Mom into giving away shares, and got her to transfer several properties to Lily's name. She was well off, and had no real concept of money, even in middle age. To her, my life was worth more than all her belongings. So, she willingly gifted them to this benefactor. But it's fine. As her daughter, I felt it was my duty to help her reclaim what was hers. I held a press conference, laying out all the evidence in front of the media. Soon the whole city erupted. The way Lily entered our lives with such arrogance was the same way she left, tail between her legs. My assistant came to me concerned. "Candy, the company's stock is plummeting due to the negative news about the execs." "Don't worry," I replied calmly. When the media frenzy peaked, I had the marketing department release our new season's products, subtly hinting that I, Candy, was in charge. Despite any individual misconduct, it wouldn't affect our product quality. To boost things further, I released an apology video, sincerely apologizing to everyone. And I launched a promotion, a 40% discount on new products for the first month, as a token of goodwill. By the next morning, the video had over 1 million views. The unreleased product caught fire. I glanced at the 6-figure pre-order numbers, barely satisfied. Meanwhile, Lily and her mother weren't faring so well. They had several of my mom's properties, but I sued them for fraud, using those properties as evidence. The court seized them, blocking any sale or transfer. They didn't really have cash to use. Sure enough, within days they were begging my dad for money. He wired them a large sum. The cards, though, were frozen by me, except for one under Mom's name. So he really handed me evidence of illegal marital asset transfer. Haha, how convenient. During a board meeting, Dad stormed in furiously. "All of you have really turned against me." He slammed the table. "You ungrateful daughter. Dare to take over. I'm not dead yet, and you think the company is yours? I hereby announce you're out of the exec team, and out of the house." I looked at him amused. "Dad, you're getting old and your eyes aren't as sharp. Look again. How many here are still on your side?" His face stiffened as he scanned the room, finding half unfamiliar faces, the other half avoiding his gaze. You all." One couldn't hold back any longer. "Let's not forget your past mistakes that cost us dearly. And this scandal nearly broke the company. Candy will lead us further. You should just stick to pampering your mistress and retire in peace." His face turned livid, hypertension acted up, and he passed out right there. I called an ambulance, arranging the best hospital and room for him. Yet the moment he woke, he worried about that mistress and Lily, his blood pressure rising again. "You heartless girl, trying to kill them." He raged, glaring at me. I watched him, indifferent, which only enraged him more. "Don't look at me like that. You're just like your mom's family, always self-righteous. What gives you the right to start with wealth, while we claw up from nothing? I built this from your mom's dowry, mocked and looked down upon all my life. You two disgust me more than anything. His chest heaved, venting years of pent-up anger. Whatever feelings of daughterly affection I had evaporated. Just a pathetic mix of insecurity and ego. I stood, looked at him, and said softly, "You're pathetic." While Dad was hospitalized, I had guards around the clock. Without my permission, no one got near him. Lily and her mom, already broke, were in chaos when Dad cut contact suddenly. Lily, once set to deal with the David family deal by Dad, panicked, stole confidential files, sold them to rivals and got a hefty sum, planning to flee with Wendy on an early morning flight. But just before boarding, they were met with cold handcuffs. An hour later, the cops caught them at the airport. As I heard the news, I relaxed in a massage chair with a sigh of contentment. My assistant reported, "Candy, Lily faces up to 3 to 10 years for serious business theft. Should we continue with the fraud charges? If so, there will be more trials, and you'll have to go to court." I smirked. Why not? On the trial day, I arrived early. My chauffeur, in white gloves, opened the door and held a sunshade for me. "Candy, please." I wore a red diamond necklace, specially chosen for this momentous occasion. Bought it at an auction the day before, a rare centerpiece. No special reason for buying it. As long as I want, I can give myself endless strings of them. I just got off the car and caught sight of two familiar faces in the corner. Wendy looked like she'd aged 10 years. Her face, nurtured by money over the years, started to decline once the funds stopped. Lily's face, once youthful and full, seemed shriveled, not that of an 18-year-old, but more like 28. The youth she once prided herself on had now become a joke. Seeing me, Wendy lost control and tried to attack. But she didn't get far before my bodyguard threw her to the ground. Lily seemed to have learned something. She stood there, biting her lip as she asked, "What will make you leave us alone?" "Fine, I'll give back your dad, your mom's house and all her money." "Will that do?" I let out a little laugh. "You're mistaken. I don't need anything back. My mom's money stays put unless I say otherwise. As for that man, he's nothing special. Despite being father and daughter, when you're out, if you want to send him off, I wouldn't mind." "You're crazy. You crazy woman." Lily lunged at me, trying to grab my throat. But clearly, her speed was no match for the guard who restrained her faster. Face pressed to the ground, she looked a mess, a far cry from the arrogant girl at my birthday party. The trial results came out quickly. The evidence was solid. This mother and daughter duo were set to spend half their lifetime behind bars. As for that man, he didn't deserve to live in the house bought with my mom's dowry. I arranged another place and caretaker for him. Unless it was something as major as his funeral, there was no need to see him again. After a period of sadness, my mom returned to her old cheerful self, pure and kind like an innocent girl. Sitting on the couch, I watched her happily tend to the flowers on the table, her love for life unchanged. At that moment, I understood something. One of the reasons I grew up was so I could protect the people closest to me. When I was little, she created a safe haven for me. Now grown, I can make her dreams come true. With me around, she'll always be the princess she wants to be. When I returned to my apartment, it was late. Flipping on the lights, I saw a figure on my couch, half buried in shadow, face unreadable. "What are you doing here?" David glanced sideways at me, lips curling into a mocking smile. "Yeah, if I hadn't come, you'd probably forget who I am, huh? We grew up together like childhood companions. I know exactly what his current look means. He's mad. And he's not the easy type to cheer up." I frowned, but had no intention to placate him. "If it's about business, don't worry. We'll compensate your family for any loss Lily caused, according to the contract." Before I finished, David suddenly stood up, grabbed my wrist harshly, and said, "I want compensation but not money. I only want you." I paused, then burst out laughing. "Oh really? I'm afraid you can't afford it." I shook off his hand, headed straight for the bathroom to take a bath, and didn't spare him another glance. Compared to his family, mine was even bigger, and I'm known for being ambitious. I thought after ignoring him, he would leave in anger. But surprisingly, when I came out wearing a robe, he was still cozied up on the couch, looking all pitiful. With reddened eyes, he said, "It's so late now. Not safe for a boy to be outside alone. Sis, can you let me stay for the night? Please." I felt a bit speechless. Still, after another look at his face, he did have the charm to say that. "Suit yourself." From that day on, he kept finding reasons to stay over every night. Watching him think up new excuses was amusing and kind of endearing, so I didn't bother calling him out. His family background is impeccable. Most importantly, he's obedient and never makes me mad. When he does get upset, he doesn't need me to cheer him up. He can manage that on his own. So much less trouble. 2 years later, on his 22nd birthday, out of nowhere, he knelt and proposed. The massive diamond ring in his hand nearly blinded me. "Sis, you said you liked big ones, so I picked the biggest." Not bad, he's got me figured out. After considering it, those more obedient than him weren't as good looking, and those better looking didn't have his physique. Alright, marriage isn't off the table. If he stops behaving, I can always find another one. After all, there are plenty of men out there on 2 legs. The end.